When I was 6 months old, I was left in the care of an orphanage near Paris. And it was from here, a few months later, that my parents adopted me. Growing up, my adoption story was only happy. My parents always made me feel like I was a gift.
Food is politics. That's one of the quotes from her memoir, Rebel Chef in Search of What Matters. Today's guest is the first and only female chef in America to have 3 Michelin stars. Her book talks of her adoption and childhood in France, her ongoing fight for gender equality, and her journey to become one of the most successful chefs of her generation without the prestigious male-dominated cooking school education. She has 3 restaurants in San Francisco, from where she joins us now. Chef, artist, and activist Dominique Crenn. Hello.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. How are you doing at this strange time in the world?
We're still on lockdown here in San Francisco. It's been a time of to reflect, to adapt, but also to really think about what really matters.
In your book, we read how hard you've worked since your early 20s when you moved to the United States.
Yeah.
What was it like having to close your precious restaurants in San Francisco when COVID-19 struck?
The first emotion was extremely emotional, knowing that I will probably have to let go some people. But the second one was a bit more exciting, because the first things that came to my mind and to my team, was we are here to help the community and to feed them. So right away we geared to make food for the medical workers, for the elderly people, for the youngster, for community that also didn't have a lot of food, the unprivileged. We work a lot also with domestic violence. So what we did basically is what we do every day. We are at the service of people. So it's quite inspiring.
One of the quotes that I really love in the book is food is politics. Many of us focused a lot on food and cooking during this lockdown. I mean, I know I cook things I've never cooked before. Here in France, there were daily confinement cooking shows on national television. Why do you think food is so important and so powerful?
Food is a weapon. It could be used positively or negatively. You know, food is also the core of the society. It's the fabric of a lot of different businesses also. I mean, historically, food was a tool where king could suppress the population. They take the food away, and then there is no more food. So they kind of shut down the people of their country. But if they want them to come back, they just give a little bit of food. So that's the negative part of it. But food is also connected to a lot of things, you know, climate change and social economic. And so for me, yes, food is politics. And through this pandemic, I think we have realized a lot of things. It's time for us to realize that food is, first of all, it's a very important part of the fabric of a country. So let's do it right. Let's understand where the food comes from. Let's understand the farmer community. Let's get rid of the factory farming. When you have money in your hand, you need to know where the money goes to. You know, buying is an act of activism, and also eating is an act of activism.
And in your book, you talk about the most divine meals and the divine cooking that you did growing up in France. Tell us about your early memories of food and how they influenced you now.
Food is a part of the joie de vivre of the French people, you know. And for me, it was kind of amazing, you know, growing up outside of Paris, spending most of my time in Brittany, but also traveling with my dad and my mom and my brother to France, and getting to also different restaurants were giving me a different sense of who those people were. So it really helped me to understand kind of the complexity of what cooking is about. It's not just putting something on the grill and putting on your plate. so much more behind it. So and it tell you a story also. So
Despite all of that, in the book, you say that moving to San Francisco in your early 20s opened up your life in ways that would never have happened here in France. And tell us more about that move and why you felt you had to leave to kind of find yourself.
France is a beautiful country and I love it. But I felt that the bureaucracy didn't allow me to be as creative I wanted to be. And I don't know, I just needed to fly away and find my way. San Francisco was the city that kind of allowed me to become who I am today without um, too much restriction. San Francisco is a city in California that has been at the forefront of a lot of new things for many years, politically or technically. Obviously today it's the mecca of the innovation with Silicon Valley. It's also a place that, if you work hard and if you have a vision and if you really push yourself and dedicated yourself, you can do anything you want here. You can become anybody you want. I can even become, if I want, the governor of California if I want. And I think that's pretty amazing, So maybe I get into politics. So.
I like this attitude. I love that moment in the book when you get your first cooking job. You go into one of the top restaurants in San Francisco and you basically ask for a job. Tell us about what you said to get that job.
I was doing a lot of research and I read about this amazing chef, Jeremiah Tower. He opened this restaurant called Stars, and that was a kind of a new thing in San Francisco, open kitchen, new menu every day, working closely with the farmer community. So I went to the restaurant and I literally came in and he was literally standing in front of his open kitchen. I said, listen, I really want to work with you. First of all, I'm standing in front of your kitchen. There is not really any woman in the kitchen, and I'm French, and I've never went to cooking school, but I'm French, so I know how to cook. And suddenly he just looked at me and he's like, okay. And that night, he put me on the grill with his sous chef, and then I was there for a couple of years, less than 2 years, and then the rest is history.
And you worked in various kitchens and restaurants in San Francisco. You also spent some time in Jakarta. And then when you were 45, you opened your own restaurant. Since then, you've had so much recognition. Netflix series, Chef's Table, 3 Michelin stars, the first and only woman to achieve that in the United States. You also named the best female chef in the world in 2016. But despite all of that, you don't really like this categorizing of female chef, do you?
No, I mean, it's silly, I'm a chef. I mean, you are a journalist and you don't want to be called a female journalist, right? You are a journalist and you do the job as good as other journalists, maybe better, I don't know. I'm a chef and we want to be recognized of the work that we're doing and the time that we're spending in the kitchen. Yes, I'm also a woman, but my gender doesn't define the work that I do out there, and I think that's important to recognize this. I mean, people will argue that the reason why they're using that word often is to promote uh, uh, our gender, but I'm like, you don't need to promote us. We've been around forever. You just have to recognize that there is a lot of restaurants that are amazing, and yes, they are led by a woman, but just put them on the list, and that's all I'm asking. I'm not a female chef, I'm a chef.
In the book, though, you do talk about more difficult times being a chef, being a female chef, and being sexually harassed in San Francisco as a young chef in the kitchen and flagging it up to the boss and basically being told if you didn't like it to leave.
Right.
Do you think that things are easier now for young women going into the business?
No. It's still there's still a lot of difficulty. I think we have moved in a place where we have made changes. Yet I feel that there's a lot of work to be done. I mean, I'm getting emails, almost 10, 20 emails, even close, more than that, a month, about young women that are in the industry and are ready to leave the industry because they don't feel that they've been seen or being treated properly, and they ask me advice. So I know this is something that it's still going on. So what we need to do is to continue to educate everyone. Even in my three restaurant, it's a daily education.
And what about your restaurants? When can we expect them to open again?
So Atelier Crenn will be reopened on July 14, which is a beautiful day for me. It's Bastille Day, but it's also the anniversary of my dad passing away.
Okay, Dominique, we're going to finish with a recipe that you've done for us, for our viewers. It's grilled trout with tomato salad. Why did you choose that?
It's a fish that is very versatile, but it's a fish that is delicious, it's very flavorful, and you can cook it very simply. Tomato is also the first. I mean, everybody knows me that I'm a tomato whisperer, but I love tomatoes so much. We were trying to give the viewer something that is very simple, delicious, a little bit of technique, but not too much, but something that will make everybody happy to eat.
Okay, Dominique Crenn, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Your book, Rebel Chef in Search of What Matters, is available now. Thank you.
Yes,
see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Jean-Christophe. Dominique Crenn. Aujourd'hui, on va faire le saumon, une purée de brocoli et un beurre blanc. Vraiment tout simple.
Thank you very much for spending some time with us. Please stay safe, come and visit us, and vive la France.
Vive la France.
On vous aime.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Au revoir.